Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Top Rope here on the Off the Mic Sports Network, reviewing SmackDown here. Listen, SmackDown in 2 weeks on USA is fucking cooked, man. Like, this has been a breath of fresh air. Not saying that Fox and their version of SmackDown near the end was bad, but it definitely was lacking, and it felt like it needed some juice. And obviously bringing Roman Reigns back and having that hot storyline with him coming back into the company for the first time since WrestleMania. But then, near the end, even when we went off the air on Fox, it's still like there was a lot of question marks. The show was going off the air before 10 o'clock Eastern because of the late local news on the East Coast. So it was weird. But since I don't know if it's just knowing that they have a little bit of extra time and the ability to potentially have a little bit of an overrun on USA, whether it's that or it's just, hey, new network, new look, new everything, everything's just working. But this show was awesome. This was really good. A lot of great stuff on this show. It starts off like we've gotten heavy teases throughout Friday that there was some bit of a segment filmed between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns on the campus of Georgia Tech on their football field, because that's where Roman Reigns obviously played college football. It's in the heart of Atlanta, where Cody Rhodes is from, and did a lot of his upbringing and his wrestling, and that's his city. And I'll get to that segment because literally so much to digest from that segment. So then we hype up that, and then the Bloodline is shown getting to the building through a bunch of metal detectors, the worst security guards ever, because they were all intimidated by each one of the Tongans and then Jacob Fatu. And so then Jacob Fatu just beats up all these security guards with a bunch of super kicks. And asked if anyone else wanted to pat him down, and that was really it. The Bloodline kind of asserting their dominance, and they're sort of establishing the motive of the night, that the Bloodline's not very happy with the events of last week, with obviously Solo Sikoa losing in the steel cage match to kick off the SmackDown on USA era. And then you have obviously Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes now teaming up to take on Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at Bad Blood. So we start off, very good start to this show. Andrade taking on LA Knight for the US Championship. LA Knight's already got more successful defenses than Logan Paul, and it's been like a month. It's been like a month. What a novel concept to have like your champion there on a weekly basis to defend when it's a mid-card championship. It's one thing if it's Roman Reigns and he's had the title for 2.5, 3 years and he's the biggest star. When it's Logan Paul, and I understand that he's got like some of that notoriety because of like being a social media megastar, but LA Knight winning that championship has obviously just changed so much with the way that they booked that championship and the way that championship is thought of. It's not just a prop. So this was a great match. They shake hands to start off, and basically he rolls. LA rolls up Andrade for a 2 early on. Both men teased their finishers. One shot of the message gets countered. LA goes for the BFT early. It doesn't have, and so Andrade rolls to the floor and regroups. Then we come back from break, and I need to talk about this for a second because some of the production decisions, specifically since the start of this year, because that's when Kevin Dunn went away. Thank God for that. Lee Fitting, I think that's his name. This guy has done so many unconventional, great production, camera movements and type of thing. But this entire segment was one continuous camera shot, starting with the shot of the United States Championship. And you get both men trading strikes in the ring. You've got Andrade going to the top rope, lands a flying crossbody for a near fall. He hits the ropes. Knight took him down with the back elbow. They go outside. They're still in one shot. Both men are trading punches near the announce table. You can actually see the U.S. Championship on the stand again, which is another great, neat production touch. Andrade tries to slam LA Knight on the table, but he reverses, smashes Andrade repeatedly with the Yaz from the crowd. Knight then landed a slingshot shoulder block as the action moved back into the ring, gets another near fall. They battle on the apron. Andrade got an advantage by sending Knight into the ring post. He then climbed the turnbuckle and lands a moonsault off of there to the floor. Mind you, before this commercial break, there was not a single camera cut whatsoever for that entire 5 to 6 minutes of that segment on television. It was unbelievable to watch. If you were at the arena in Sacramento and you didn't get a chance to actually watch this on television, please watch this back. This was a work of art. And I'm going to say that a lot on this show because there was a lot of stuff on this show that really just was beautiful. It was really beautiful. So we get back from commercial. Andrade lands a running forearm. He kips up. Knight ended up seated in the corner. Andrade lands some stomps. He goes for the Meteora in the corner, but he comes up empty. Knight lands a DDT, gets a 2. Knight played a game of turnabout and stomped on a seated Andrade in the corner, does his yak kicks. He then lands a running knee strike and then a neck breaker a moment later for a near fall. Both men end up on the turnbuckles, but Andrade elbowed Knight back into the ring and delivered his double jump moonsault. Nice job by LA Knight to get into position at the last possible second. I love that double moonsault. I love a lot of things about Andrade. So then Andrade sets up for another Meteora. He lands it this time for a near fall. Andrade gets a jawbreaker, hits the ropes. Knight muscled him up for a body slam that almost got botched, but he was able to power him up through it. And so then he goes up for his big elbow drop. He lands that the leapfrog elbow drop, which was really nice. It's a nice little bit of athleticism, as Wade Barrett would say, athleticism. So then LA goes for the BFT. Andrade rolls him up for a near fall. He then followed up with that crazy back elbow that sounded like it was a gunshot, for God's sake. That's a near fall. Andrade, I'm begging you. I like the message. Please do the back elbow as your finish, dude. Like, that is it's so much better than the Judas effect that Chris Jericho does. I don't understand why that's just a transitional move. Andrade backed up in the corner. He dragged LA Knight up to the second rope. Knight attempted to do that jump up superplex, but he had to do it twice. It was unfortunate. It's a really hard move to do in the middle of a 15-20 minute match. I understand. Andrade shoved LA off, attempted a shotgun drop kick, but he failed. LA gets the BFT and the cover for the win. This went 17 minutes. This was a fucking outstanding match, even with the botches at the end. LA Knight has improved so much in the ring. Like, I remember following him back in the days of being Eli Drake in Impact. He was not nearly as good of a wrestler as he was now. Like, and it's a testament to the work ethic that guy has put in. He's always been a fantastic promo, but he is more than just a gimmick. This guy can work, and Andrade and him put on a freaking banger to start off the show. So then we get this awkward moment after the match where LA Knight, they eventually shake hands. They were like teasing. LA looked like he resisted it. Then he was going to do a fist bump. And Andrade was trying to high five him. It was odd, but still, like, I think that was kind of playing into the narrative of, like, both these guys. Like, you know, it's friendly, it's healthy competition, but maybe these guys don't really, like each other. They may respect each other. So then we hype up the women's tag match, which is now a tornado tag, no tags, between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, taking on Bayley and Naomi with the stakes on the line. So then backstage, Nia tells Tiffany that Naomi and Bayley were coming for the title. So if she takes the pin tonight, she might want to consider leaving SmackDown too. So then we go backstage, and Andrade's walking backstage, and he runs into Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo, using the cheap heat, saying Andrade's choke he compared it to the Kings choking against the Lakers in years past. Carmelo, you're from Boston, dude. Why are you talking about the Lakers and talking about them positively? I know you're giving heat on the city of Sacramento, but damn, that was weird. Hayes said, yeah, you lost the fries in the bag. You're washed. So Andrade gets so incensed, he throws him around. They land some strikes. They throw each other into a bunch of production equipment. This was an outstanding backstage brawl. And just a great way to set up what's going to be match 6. I initially thought that, hey, when Carmelo didn't get involved in the U.S. title match, I was really surprised. But then seeing this come out of it was really a great call. And we're gonna get a match 6, I think next week. So that's really cool. So then we throw to the big moment of the show, and really what was the hook of this whole thing throughout the night, and that is Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns meeting in a highly produced, really cinematic piece on the campus of Georgia Tech, on the field where Roman Reigns played football. So both men are shown arriving on the campus of Georgia Tech. Like I said, Roman Reigns played college football there. Roman gets a big motorcade. Cody just shows up in a fancy convertible. They meet at the 50-yard line. Roman asks Cody to see the ground he stands on and let him know that everything he can see was his. He said he shed blood, sweat, and tears on this field, and that makes it his. He then said it was his field, it was his stadium, and it was his city. and he asked Cody what he had done for the city of Atlanta. Cody responds with the fact that Center Stage was down the street, and the arena that used to be called the Omni, and now it's called State Farm Arena, which hosts the pay-per-view, Bad Blood in a couple weeks. He said generations of his family have bled for and in this town, and it might be his stadium, but this is his home. Roman reminded Cody that he was in a no-win situation, and that Roman, had nothing to lose. He says they took Jimmy, they took his wise man, they took his bloodline. Now he's a man without a country. He said he's a man with nothing to lose. Cody said that what am I supposed to be surprised? And he reminded Roman that before their first WrestleMania match, he would end up being a chief without a tribe. Cody said WWE had a tribal chief, had a tribal chief and a WWE champion, but it wasn't him. Cody then said he was no longer the biggest box office attraction or instant WrestleMania main event. He was just a guy who they used to call Roman Reigns. Roman asked what he wanted, and Cody said it was his word that he would have he would have Cody's back. Roman agrees, but told Cody that when this is all over, he was coming for the title. That was his. He went to leave. Cody stood in his path and said it wasn't his to take. Roman says that he was in his way in life. And then he walked off when Cody just sort of gave up on it. Holy shit, what a segment. Like, this was literally, like the kids say, cinema. This was cinema. I mean, it felt like a movie. The line delivery and just the back and forth between these two guys, the storytelling, going back to the line that Cody said before WrestleMania 39 in their match there, that was great. All of this, like Roman playing into the fact that, hey, they took Jimmy, they took my wise man, they took my Ulafala, they took all of this and that. Oh my God, this was just so effing good. And then it gets even better because immediately out of that, we fade out of that video package, and Kevin Owens is shown watching it on the backstage monitor. Byron Saxton, being the good journalist that he is, goes up for a reaction. Kevin's speechless and just walks away. So then we show Kevin again looking disappointed, and so then we get Apollo Crews in the ring. Giovanni Vinci makes his entrance. We show the footage from 2 weeks ago. Okay, let me run through this really fast. So Vinci's not wearing his elaborate robe and getup. He's not kissing women in the audience. So he jumps Crews from the start, gets a rapid strikes to start the match. He lands a lariat in the corner, pummels Crews with a couple of punches. He then body slammed Crews into the rope several times with his hamstring hitting the rope, which was really kind of brutal. So then Vinci sets up for a power bomb, and Crews just reverses it and gets a crucifix for a pin, and this is over in 90 seconds. And dare I tell you, everybody was losing their mind because WrestleVotes put out that, hey, they were going to go double or nothing with this Vinci thing because a lot of people were not happy. Listen, I think that Vince McMahon and his patterns of terrible booking and everybody saying, oh, this is a Vince McMahon thing, that's kind of ruined the way we've watched wrestling, especially in this Triple H era. And then I think AEW has kind of ruined the way we watch wrestling. Everybody's caught up in Vinci losing twice. Because immediately after the match, Vinci attacks Crews, throws him in the barricade, he gets a nasty-looking brain buster in the ring, and he gets his heat back. Like, what's the problem here? It's been 2 weeks of him back in this capacity, and they're playing up in playing up this viciousness because he let his guard down. He was very narcissistic. You already saw the change in the fact that he was not wearing his dramatic getup and his expensive outfit and being distracted and taking a day and a half to the ring. I love Corey Graves saying, yeah, Roman takes 11 years to get to the ring, and I thought that was really funny. But what's the problem here? Let me give you guys an example of, booking and, wins and losses. You guys remember Action Andretti from AEW? That guy beat Chris Jericho in his first big AEW match. You want to know where Action Andretti is now? Nowhere. He's mired in a trios group, I guess a 4-man group with Top Flight, and he doesn't do anything. So what did that win over Chris Jericho, which was basically meant to establish him as a star? It did nothing for him. So before you go passing off judgment on this Giovanni Vinci thing because he took 2 quick losses, it's about the character. It's not supposed to be all about wins and losses. And I think AEW kind of ruined our perception of how things are won and lost and how things are earned and how you get over with the audience. It doesn't have to be about wins. It has to be how the story plays out. And I think with Giovanni Vinci, I think he's going to be fine. Let's let this play out longer before we pass judgment. It has been, 3 weeks now. He took last week off. It's been 2 matches that he's had. And he immediately got his heat back on Apollo Crews after this match. So I think everybody needs to calm down on this. So then we get another chance where Byron tries to catch up with Kevin Owens. And he said, yeah, I'm going to give my comments in the ring. So before we get that, we hype up Saturday night's main event, which is awesome. Happening in December on Long Island. Awesome to see Saturday night's main event back for the first time. I think it's 16 years. That's amazing. And it feels very old school, very retro. I think a lot of people are really excited to see that, and I would expect that to sell out very, very quickly when the tickets actually do go on sale. So then Kevin Owens makes his entrance. He said it's pretty obvious. Everybody's wondering what he thinks about the whole situation with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Owens says he's got to be honest, and before he can even say what he wants to say, he's cut off by Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. Tama gets on the microphone, soaks up some booze. He told the crowd they better let the right-hand man speak. He was doing his weird, like his little weird thing with his teeth. I think this is the first actual official promo in front of a live audience that's not taped for social media by Tama Tonga. So that was something that I mean, he's been there for like 4 or 5 months, so that's crazy. So then Tama said last week Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes embarrassed their tribal chief, and that was a big mistake. He said they would get theirs at Bad Blood, but tonight Kevin Owens would get what's coming to him by the orders of the real tribal chief. Owens said nobody ever wanted to hear what he had to say, what they had to say. He takes a dig at Tama Tonga because nobody cares. He says, yeah, nobody cares, and they should just get this over with. So Owens just takes on all of them 3-on-1. He gets jumped by them, but DIY comes to even the odds. I almost didn't even recognize their theme because the remix of the "We Are" is just so fucking god awful. Why do they do this? This is one of the big weaknesses in WWE's entrance music. We've got to clean that up, guys. And I've heard rumors that Def Rebel might be done. DIY was actually one of the few kind of bangers, and then they add this weird rock momentum to it and this different beat, and it sounds awful. It really sounds bad. But DIY comes out and makes the save, so a bunch of officials break it up. Nick Aldis comes out, and he gets this inner Tenny Long on, holla, 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 and announces a 6-man tag between everyone involved for the main event of the show, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, considering it looked like everybody was dressed to compete, and they could have just done it right there. I thought maybe the women's match was going to main event, but that was next. Before we get there, Naomi and Bayley strategized for the match. They teased some dissension, but ultimately hug it out, and said that they were both aligned in their goal to take the title off of Nia. So then Tiffany and Nia make their entrance. Naomi and Bayley make their entrance. So then we get this match, and this match was a lot of fun. So Naomi and Bayley get the early advantage and this was, again, a tornado tag match, no tags, and they pointed out this on commentary that this was Nick Aldis and his idea, showing that he's a great manager, saying, hey, I want to given the stipulation, I want to give both Naomi and Bayley an opportunity to not be like standing on the apron when a pinfall happens. So that was a neat little pull to a neat little correction on the booking of this match. So Naomi and Bayley get the early advantage by getting the better of a bunch of strike contests. They get some double team moves, a DDT and a bulldog on Stratton and Jax. They then land a double team clothesline, make a double cover for a 2 count. And there was a little bit of a disagreement over the cover, which opened up the window for Nia to just vault Naomi into the air. That was crazy. Tiffany lands a blockbuster from the top rope on Bayley, and Nia gets the cover for a 2, and Bayley was almost off of SmackDown. So out of the commercial, Naomi and Tiffany focused their offense on Bayley. Everyone was on the outside when the show returned from the break. Nia, they're doing a lot of picture-in-picture stuff, which is really cool. They're not tossing to it obnoxiously like, oh, in picture. I mean, Vic Joseph does a much better job of it, but it's just like, I mean, the reality is nobody really pays attention to picture-in-picture, so there's that. So Nia tossed Naomi into the timekeeper's area. She then attempted to do the same for Bayley, but Naomi kicked her as she approached the barricade. Bayley then tossed Tiffany into the barricade and dove through the ropes onto Nia onto the floor. Nia took a nasty-looking bump there. Naomi follows up with a crossbody from the apron. Tiffany recovered, took down Naomi with a lariat. Bayley and Naomi then landed a double-team suplex and a dropkick combo on Naomi, on Tiffany. But Naomi pulled Bayley off the pin. First little bit of dissension in this match, which was a neat part of this story and booking of this match. Hey, one of you guys are off the show if you lose, but hey, one of you's got to win to get the title match. So they argue briefly, land a double back body drop on Nia a moment later. Some really good showings of strength from these women. Bayley charged in the corner, but Nia turned her away with an elbow. She then planted all of her weight into basically effectively an annihilator on a Naomi. She then sets up for the actual annihilator, but Bayley helped Naomi avoid it. There was a double pin moment where Nia and Bayley both made pinning attempts on the other partners. Both women kicked out. Like this was it was Nia and Bayley on the respective partners. And so this was happening. It was like, oh, what's going to happen here? How's this going to go? Is somebody going to be off Raw? How's this finish going to play out? But they both kick out, so it doesn't matter. Naomi avoids a powerbomb from Nia a little bit later on. She reversed into a face buster, which was nice. Tiffany tried to break up a cover with a swanton, but she landed on Nia instead. So Naomi and Bayley then land a 1D. Shout out Jimmy Uso, who's sitting at home probably smiling from ear to ear seeing his wife execute that move. Nia lands a Samoan drop. And Bayley pulled her into a crucifix. And so Naomi jumped over the top, and we got a double pin here. So like the crazy finish is like, yeah, Nia gets a Samoan drop on Naomi. Bayley goes for the crucifix, and Naomi just sort of dives and has to get her feet off of the ropes and execute it. A lot of people are saying, yeah, this was a little bit botched. Listen, it was still very well executed. It's a hard spot to do. So we get a double pin, and Naomi and Bayley both win this match effectively for their team by pinning the women's champion. So that was, listen, I'm not normally for pinning my women's champions or just my champions in general. But this was a good way to do it because Nia is such a big and imposing figure and a dominant figure that having two women beat her actually is a kind of an effective way. And it was really kind of a fluke fall and a creative way to get out of, what really was a kind of somewhat of a convoluted concept, but they really did a nice job. And the action in this was really great. All four women did really well. I've said it before and I say it again. Nia Jax is just so much better than she was the first time in WWE. I don't know what the fuck happened, but my God, she is honestly one of the best parts of this women's division. So they sort of hype up, okay, we're going to get some clarification on what the hell is going on. So basically, we get a vignette from Chelsea Green. She's picking up trash and gagging around a dumpster while complaining that she had to fight Meat Chin on her own turf. She was attacked by a bunch of bugs and a raccoon at one point, told Meat Chin that she would pay for this. So I guess we're getting a dumpster match in Nashville in a couple weeks on SmackDown. So that's really cool. I love that Meat Chin keeps getting highlighted. And I love Chelsea Green. She was hilarious in this segment. It was really quick. So yeah, part 6 of Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes next week on SmackDown. Then we go backstage to Nick Aldis talking with Naomi and Bayley, and I thought that, hey, they were going to go with the triple threat, which would have been the easy way out, but they're going to do a one-on-one Naomi versus Bayley match. Winner gets Nia Jax at the pay-per-view at the premium live event. So that's, interesting. I think in the end, we're still going to get a triple threat, and we're going to get some sort of non-finish here where Nia's just going to effectively try to screw it up. I don't know why that they're delaying this. Like, they both have a visual pin on the women's champion. Like, I think the easy way to do this is we just do the triple threat. But I guess they're delaying it because they have another week to, another week or so to really, get ready for Bad Blood. So they don't really have to rush to get there, but I think doing this match is a little bit odd. I think it was just sort of cut there for you guys to make that decision, but I get it. So then Kevin Owens makes his entrance. DIY's music hits, but the Bloodline is shown just beating him up backstage. Owens charges up the ramp. He's quickly beaten down by the Bloodline. So then the Street Profits come down to even the odds. Owens climbed to the top rope and splashed everyone on the floor. Owens and the Profits get back in the ring and fired up the crowd. So I guess, yeah, we're getting a replacement match with the Street Profits filling in. I love DIY, but I mean, this seemed like a logical way to go. It sucks that DIY's kind of been taking a bunch of shit through a lot of this. So Owens and the Profits jumped out to an early advantage. They focused on Tagaloa. That's not hard. Fatu gets the tag in. He changes the tone of the match. Usually that's like now the new bloodline. Jacob Fatu is really like the difference maker. He's basically two people. The bloodline then cut off Montez Ford, made frequent tags to keep him away from his corner. Tama made a cover after a lariat and a running elbow strike for a 2. Fatu turned Ford inside out with a big lariat, but he missed a follow-up hip attack in the corner that opened up a window for Dawkins to tag in. He looks good, but Fatu then leveled him with a kick, and then his I'm not going to say the prettiest moonsault ever, but it's basically that variation. It's a triple jump moonsault. So then Tama Tonga remained in control of the match, coming out of a commercial. With Dawkins struggling to make a tag, Dawkins breaks free of a headlock and landed a suplex on Tama. But Jacob Fatu quickly entered the match and cut him off. Dawkins popped out of the corner with a body block to stagger Jacob. Jacob then charged into the corner, but he hits the post, and he literally, it was a big overshot. He just goes really high and hits the corner post really nasty. Ford and Tama get into this match. Ford gets the better of it, some strikes and a big running lariat, just an awesome hot tag from Montez. He gets a knee strike and a suplex. He then lands a standing moonsault in the cover, gets a near fall. KO gets the hot tag, runs around the ring, does his Strowman Express shtick, where he just takes a lap around, just giving lariats to everybody in sight. Gets a running senton on Jacob, a frog splash off the apron to Tongaloa. In the ring, he goes for the cannonball and then a senton on Tama Tonga, but Fatu breaks things up. Dawkins then took Fatu out of the ring. Owens and Tama fight on the ropes. Tonga just learned his lesson about trying to superplex Kevin Owens, but KO makes the cover after a fisherman's buster. And it's just Tonga Loa then breaks it up. Owens lands a stunner on Tama Tonga, but Loa pulled him out of the ring and threw him into the ring steps, and that's when the referee calls for the bell. And that was odd. This was a great match, and I was like, I've seen a lot worse things get called for a DQ. I guess this is a no contest. This was a lot of fun. A very good main event. Odd finish to it, but a lot of good action in this. Obviously, the Street Profits are awesome. Kevin Owens always kills it. Go watch my video, and it's nights like this where I mean to tell you, Kevin Owens ain't leaving. He ain't leaving. So we continue on here after the match, on the floor and outside after the match. The Bloodline quickly takes out Ford and Dawkins, set up for a triple powerbomb on Owens. He fights his way out with the help of Ford, but Jacob Fatu splashed Ford in the ring to put him down again. Owens continued to fight, and DIY finally at less than 100% run out for the assist, but they're quickly kicked out of their shoes by Fatu, and the Bloodline gets back to Kevin Owens. So they stomp on Kevin Owens in the ring, and then Fatu goes up to the top rope, and Cody Rhodes shows up. He was in Atlanta filming a vignette yesterday. Whew! I thought Randy Orton was coming back, but I guess he's on vacation with his wife and his kids. So I did not see Cody Rhodes making a pre-taped video package thing and then coming into the arena, because then Cody runs in, gets rid of the Tongans, lands a Cody cutter to clear out Jacob Fatu, and Kevin Owens picks up the chair, and Cody is waiting a long time to turn around, and Owens is teasing that he's going to hit Cody with the chair, but he eventually pulls it down. Cody gives KO a hug, raises his hand, and that closes the show. Holy shit, this is literally cinema. And watching this and just watching the way Kevin Owens' utilization throughout this show, again, go watch the video from earlier today about why I think Kevin Owens is staying. And it's stuff like this, his utilization throughout the storyline. Just because he has not won a ton of championships in the last half a decade or so doesn't mean that he is going to just leave the place where his career has skyrocketed to so many new heights, and he's had all these big matches and all these big moments in his career. And you think he is going to choose Tony Khan over Triple H? Because I mean to tell you, the way that they are building and the slow burn that they are having to this Kevin Owens inevitable heel turn on Cody Rhodes is going to be one of the biggest masterpieces and one of the more heartbreaking moments that you are going to see in WWE and in professional wrestling. This is going to be it's been a masterclass, because you're starting to see a lot of parallels to Drew McIntyre and his ability to kind of pivot and make a ton of sense, saying, hey, why should I side with you? And he's really conflicted with, Cody, you're teaming with a guy who's caused us misery and caused me misery for 4 years. What the fuck are you doing? So at some point, cooler heads are not going to be able to prevail, and Kevin's going to turn in the most brutal way possible on Cody Rhodes. And it is going to be freaking epic for the storytelling. And again, it's going to go back to my point. Kevin Owens ain't leaving. And if you watch this show and you're an AEW fan and you were hoping that Kevin Steen or Kevin Owens, whatever you want to know him as, because you refuse to watch the WWE product, Kevin Owens is not fucking leaving WWE. If you're booking him like that and being that important throughout multiple segments and getting multiple amounts of screen time and a full-on match here at the end of the show, he was a featured performer, and he was the first person that you see out of that amazing video package, which was unbelievable production on the video package, and just to get to Kevin Owens to see his immediate reaction, because that's who we want to hear from. So I'm telling you guys, do not get your hopes up if you're an AEW fan and you're hoping for Kevin Owens to leave. It is just a matter of time before he is going to sign a new contract. He has been booked incredibly well, even though he has not won any championships. I just don't see a scenario, even before I saw tonight, where Kevin Owens is going to leave WWE. But again, this was an amazing, amazing SmackDown. The first 2 weeks on USA have been unbelievable. A couple of weird moments here and there, but hey, you're not going to be perfect every night. The finish to the main event was odd. I was a little bit, perplexed that they didn't just immediately go to the triple threat between Naomi, Bayley, and Nia Jax. A couple botches aside in that early main event between that early opener for the U.S. title between LA Knight and Andrade. But yeah, a lot of stuff on the show was really fucking good. The crowd was amazing. Hot all night in Sacramento. It was great. And yeah, it's been a great time. I'll have a separate reaction, because I want to talk about the reports that SmackDown's going to be 3 hours in 2025. I still need to kind of I'm still very conflicted on what this means, because I am glad that Raw is going down to 2 hours. I'm a little bit mixed, and I'm still wanting to see the direction of SmackDown on USA. And I think, obviously, the change of scenery and the change of networks has really put some new energy in this show. So maybe going to 3 hours is something, but we'll have a lot of reaction and follow-up to that at another time, probably later this weekend. But like, share, and subscribe here on the channel at OT Mike Sports, on Twitter at OffTheMic28 if you want to follow me. Hit that subscribe button if you're here on the channel right now. I really, really appreciate it. The love and support has been insane. Go watch some of the great content. Shout out to my boys, Danny Udelf and Andrew Marks, for the great stuff that they did on the initial Mad Sports show. We've got NFL content. We even had baseball content, wrestling content. We'll probably have basketball at some point, because basketball season is going to be here before you know it. The perfect blend of sports and sports entertainment here on the Off the Mic Sports Network. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate y'all. Have a great week, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.